Hello, everyone. Welcome to Happy Hour. It's been a while since we've done this particular session here. Yeah, it's been a long time since we gotten together and gossiped. I'm excited. Not necessarily to gossip, but to spend a little bit of time with you all. Hello, hello. Um, I'm Soleil. I am cover mother of Vision of Dawn Tour. I am founder and facilitator of the Charm School Mentorship Program. I am your weekly reader, and I'm a dope bitch straight up out of Oakland. Hello, hello. As you come into the room, say hello. Talk to me, I talk back. Leave a comment. Hit the scale emojis because those resonate with me. Those give me a lot of energy. They're deeply connected to my spiritual walk in a particular way. That's what I'll say. And yeah, so we're here for happy hour. I know that for the last few weeks on Thursday, we've been doing Astral Hour. And that is particularly because the month of June was setting us up for July, which has a lot of really big transits in it. But today we're taking a break from Astral Hour and we're going to do happy hour. And for those of you who may not have been here before or have forgotten because it's been a while, happy hour is where we come together and we shoot the shit, same way you would at happy hour after work with your coworkers or at the end of the week with your homegirls, your homeboys. But we just do it virtually. We talk about pop culture, what's going on in our lives, what's happening in geopolitics, anything related to the zeitgeist. But because I don't believe in gossip for gossip's sake, if we're going to have these conversations, I do try to tie them into themes that we could all benefit from. Because what's the point of talking about other people's lives if we're not going to gain wisdom from their lived experience, right? Hey, Spencer, good to see you. Thank you so much for joining tonight. Have my earbuds in again. Let me take these off because every time I leave these in, either somebody calls me or a random song will play. And I want to be focused tonight, okay? So as you can probably tell from the title, tonight we're going to talk about Rihanna. We're also going to talk about Jasmine Brown. I've spoken about Jasmine Brown here on this channel before, but I think related to a different topic. And the reason why I want to talk about them together is because once this subject got laid on my heart, I started thinking about, okay, well, who are the most popular examples of this that we can think about right now, right? Some of you guys can probably think of other examples. I know that y'all act like she's Jesus and nobody's ever supposed to say anything about Beyonce, but people have argued that when Jay cheated on Beyonce, it was to humble her, right? I think that being in relationship or partnership with somebody who feels a constant need to humble you is something that happens more often than we talk about. And we don't really give people tools to be equipped to protect themselves, either from entering into those dynamics or being able to navigate them once they are entered into them, okay? So that's what I want to talk about tonight. And I think, again, we're talking about it in the context of romantic relationships. But I know from my own personal experience, as well as, just my time being a life coach, I think many of us can also learn from this lesson in ways that helps us in our friendships as well, right? I think it's just important wisdom to have about how to understand how you should move when people are playing with you about you. I think it's really important, okay? So just to get us started, I mean, it's just you and me right now, Spencer. Maybe other people are going to join eventually, but I want all of us to think about, have we ever been in a relationship where we were with someone who felt a constant need to make us smaller, right? Somebody who is attracted to our confidence, to the light in us, but the second that they get us, they want to dim that light, right? They feel a need to constantly do things to check us once we start showing up in that confidence, right? If that's you, I was going to say raise your hand. If you want to raise your hand in the comments, feel free. But if that's you, just pay close attention to what we're going to talk about tonight, right? Because I think it's important for us to understand what is the difference between a partner who is keeping us grounded. I think humility is important. I think being grounded is important, especially if you want community with other people. Having mindfulness around being grounded and how you come off to other people is deeply important. But there's a huge difference between a partner that is trying to keep you grounded and a partner that is trying to check you, that is trying to humble you and low key humiliate you, right? So it's important to be mindful of those things. There's a huge difference between accountability and somebody trying to shrink you. There's a huge difference between criticism and someone who wants to breed insecurity in you. There is a huge difference between somebody keeping you grounded and somebody trying to dim your light. Those are all very different things. And if we're not aware, we can find ourselves again in romantic relationships, in friendships, stuck in jobs that are meant to break us down, right? Hey, Adelaida, thank you so much for joining tonight. And again, part of the reason why we need to understand the difference is because somebody who keeps us grounded, somebody who holds us accountable, somebody who gives us constructive criticism, those are all things meant to help us grow. And there's a huge difference between somebody who is invested in helping you grow and somebody who is actively trying to breed insecurity in you. Insecurity leads to desperation. And if we're desperate, we can't leave people. If we're desperate, we don't know what to do when people mistreat us, right? And so I think it's important. Control freak who argues over my things. That has nothing to do with him. Yeah. Making your partner shrink is a form of control. It absolutely is a form of control, and we're going to interrogate that tonight. We're definitely going to talk about that tonight. So first off, let's talk about what it looks like to humble someone, right? What does it actually look like when people are going out of their way to humble us? I think some of us have experienced these things, but we couldn't put words to it. Or if, God forbid, we were in an environment where we were around a gaslighter and they're flying monkeys, they probably convinced us that what we were feeling we were making up, but you probably weren't, right? And many people don't even realize that it's happening before it starts, right? And it's not until it devolves into outright insults that we pick up on it. But sometimes people trying to humble you can look like teasing disguised as jokes, right? Especially if they're teasing you about things that you've been vulnerable with them about, and that they know bringing up in front of other people is going to hurt you, right? Those nice nasties, those are intentional. Even if they make it seem like your reaction is too much or, they're not trying to hurt you, they are. They don't want you to be hurt by it because your feelings are inconvenient to them. But anytime somebody is teasing you and disguising it as a joke, that is an attempt to humble you. That is an attempt to foster insecurity within you. Similar but different backhanded compliments, right? Backhanded compliments are meant to humble you and they're meant to exercise control over you, right? I remember when I was in my 20s, I dated somebody who tried to make me insecure about my cooking. I made them something one day. It was something I made for them a bunch of times. And they were like, oh, this one's real nice. You didn't over-season this one, right? And I ignored it the first time they said it. And because I ignored it, they made it a point. They made it a point to say it 2 more times after that, right? Part of the reason why was because not only did they want me to make me insecure, they wanted me to be on guard, right? They wanted me to walk on eggshells. They wanted me to be in this mindset of, is what I'm giving good enough, right? But backhanded compliments are meant to breed insecurity in you, and that's to humble you, right? Another thing that backhanded compliments do, it's like, I'm going to give you kudos, but not enough for you to feel good about yourself. I'm going to acknowledge that this is a good thing in you, but I'm also going to shit on it a little bit so that way your head doesn't get too big, your confidence doesn't get too big to where you feel good about the thing, right? Another way that people humble you, or people in relationships particularly, acting embarrassed by your success. Acting embarrassed by your success. Y'all know my channel's small. I'm a humble person. I don't act like what I'm doing is bigger than what it is. But the one time that I got recognized out in public, I was with somebody that I was seeing, and they acted so irritated and disgusted. And here this person is that I've done readings for before, excited to meet me face to face. And this person that I was seeing at the time acted so inconvenienced by it, those 2 minutes that I took to talk to that person and hug them, that when I got in the car, they gave me the silent treatment the whole time we were riding back home. When people act like they're embarrassed by your success, when people treat your accomplishments and your success like it's some big, huge inconvenience, that is meant to humble you. And it humbles you because it's trying to train you into not talking about yourself, not highlighting the positives within you, right? You can highlight their positives, but if you have something that they can't feed off of, they have to act like it's embarrassing, because that is their way of training you into not highlighting yourself, not taking up space. And people who seek to humble you, who don't want you to be in your light, they are inconvenienced by you taking up space. Okay? If any of this is resonating with any of you all, if you've experienced this before, hit the scale emojis, let me know. Okay? I have a few more. People who criticize you after an achievement. Have you ever gotten a promotion and instead of your partner being happy for you, they asked you whether or not you could handle it? You're already stressed out by work. You're going to take on more responsibility, right? That's their attempt at humbling you. That's their attempt at making you smaller, trying to convince you that you're not capable or worthy of the accomplishments you have, right? Any of you all who have degrees, who may have tried to date people that don't have degrees, you may have gotten that, right? I remember I dated someone, I keep bringing up my relationship history. I dated someone who always told me I talk like a white girl. I talk like a regular Black woman from California, right? And that was their way of humbling me around the way that I speak and being educated and being articulate, right? People who criticize your achievements, it's not even that they don't value your achievements, because this is what confused me about that partner. They would brag about my degrees to other people. But when it was just me and them one-on-one, I think I'm too smart. I think I know every fucking thing. I talk like a white girl, right? So in one-on-one interactions, my achievements were things that needed to be belittled. But when we were around other people, if it got them attention, they would brag on it. That is a partner that wants to humble you. It's not that they don't see your value or see the worth of your achievements. They don't want you to stand fully in those achievements. And you know that that's the reality, because again, they'll brag on it to other people, but when it's you and them in one-on-one interaction, it's a thing that they throw in your face or a thing that they make fun of. Okay? So again, partners who criticize your achievements are trying to humble you. When they withhold praise as well, again, going back to the achievement thing, you hit a milestone, you get a promotion, you receive some sort of blessing, and everyone else around you is clapping for you, and they are silent, right? So they may not outwardly criticize you, but they're just not going to praise you for the accomplishment. That's a partner that's trying to humble you. Also, when they compare you to other people, right? When they compare you to other people, I'm going to give you a form of comparison, and it may not sound like comparison, but it is. And beware of the partner that always makes you feel like an exception to the rule. I dated someone in my early 20s, Black guy, right? And this is important for what I'm about to share. I had noticed that he only dated Latinas before I dated him, but I didn't care, right? Again, I was in my 20s. I didn't know any better. But he made it up, and the first time he said it, it made me uncomfortable, and he kept saying it. It was actually one of the things that led to our breakup. He would always say, I don't even really date Black girls, but you're different. You're not ghetto. You're not going to embarrass me. Or I don't typically date black girls because I like long hair, but you got long hair, so it's okay. It was always some weird thing about my blackness, and he was darker than me. If you know me in real life, you know I love chocolate. So I don't even date light skin. But he always had something fucked up to say, right? That was comparing me to his exes. And it was comparing me in a way that was meant to A, make me feel insecure, but also try to force or breed competition or hostility in me towards another group of women. And even though I didn't understand how bad it was, because again, I was in my early 20s, I knew that it wasn't right. I knew it didn't feel good. So it wasn't the only reason, but it was one of the things that led to our breakup, right? So when you are with an ex, or not with an ex, when you're with someone and dating someone and they're constantly trying to compare you to other people, they're trying to humble you, okay? And then the last one, anybody that tells you that your confidence is arrogance, right? If you get happy about something and they tell you you're being arrogant, that's a partner that's trying to humble you, okay? Anytime you are being made to feel that celebrating yourself was you doing too much, you taking up too much space, you having a big head, that's somebody trying to humble you. And your partners are people who are supposed to mirror your light back to you, not try to dim it or extinguish it, okay? Now, I want to talk about why I'm talking about this in terms of Rihanna and Jasmine. And then I want to talk about why people do this after I talk about them, right? How many of you guys have seen some of the media coverage that's going around about A$AP Rocky recently? If you are in any of my mentorships, you probably know because we read about it this week. That's kind of the reason why I'm talking about this, because it's already something that we've been discussing with my students, right? But A$AP Rocky, who has over the last few years gotten this reputation of being actually a really supportive partner, has been saying some weirdo shit about Rihanna recently. And not about her directly, but he's just been acting out, right? So randomly he decided to wear a thong in one of his concerts and show his thong, which is like, okay, whatever. And then at a recent concert in Arizona, he was on stage and he said if he wasn't single, he'd fuck everybody in the audience, right? When you are in partnership with one of the most famous women in the world and you have several children by them and you were on stage saying that, you know, if I wasn't single, I would F anybody, but especially an audience full of people, that is meant to humble your partner, right? I don't think that there's a coincidence that this is happening now. You know, Rocky has been supportive, but this is happening now, a few months after he released an album that flopped. If you don't understand what I'm saying, let me connect the dots for you. I think it's really easy to be supportive of your billionaire partner when you are not working and you don't have anything going on. Your billionaire partner that you're in the same field with, right? But then when you decide to go back to your work and it's not received the way that you want it to be, I'm not surprised that all these little weirdo things are now happening. These like underhanded things are happening to try and check or humble her, right? Because I think the reality of him putting a lot of work into an album that flopped, knowing that if Rihanna came out tomorrow and, you know, sneezed on a track, people would lose their shit. I think that's a lot for him to carry, right? And we can talk about Rihanna and Rocky as a couple and thinking that they're not equally yoked or well matched. I'm a member of the Navy. It's not what I wanted for her. You know what I mean? But it is what it is. That's another conversation. But that's another thing to pay attention to. You know, if you are with a partner and things are not going well for them, but things are still going well for you, and that brings out a nasty side of them where they have to compare you to other women. They mention wanting to sleep with other women, right? They minimize their success. They flirt with other people in front of you. That's them trying to humble you. And they're doing it for a reason, okay? Jasmine Brown has been long suffering from a partner humbling her for much longer than Riri has. This is somewhat recent that we've seen this with Rihanna, but I am convinced that that relationship that that woman has with Cam Newton is a humiliation ritual. I am. I am. She's not the only one. There are other influencers. I feel like there's been a string of influencers. This lady named the Wizard Liz, who I know nothing about, the Asian woman who's in Singapore right now. A lot of women who make a brand off of independence and loving yourself and loving your life, right? There are men who literally seek to get into relationship with them, not because they genuinely love them, but because it almost makes them look player to take this strong, independent woman and break her down. And what we've witnessed over the last few years with Jasmine Brown has been Cam Newton breaking her down. She went from the queen of independence and encouraging women not to ruin their lives, attaching themselves to men who don't commit to them, to now being committed to this illiterate man who continually dresses like Colonel Sanders, who brags about not wanting to marry her after she has literally given him 2 children. This man is dedicated to humbling her. And it's because that Jasmine Brown, if you can call her a lot of things, but you can't call her ugly. You can call her a lot of things, but you can't call her untalented. Taking a beautiful, successful woman and sucking the life out of her gives certain men a lot of confidence. Is it okay? No. Is it fucked up? Yes. Should we be aware of it so that we don't find ourselves in situations like it? Absolutely. It is deeply important. So let's talk a little bit about why people want to humble a person. Why would you get into a relationship with somebody that has strong aura, that has a big light in them, that is deeply successful, only to want to break them down? Let's talk about it, right? There are some psychological motivations behind it. Some partners are uncomfortable with successful women or successful men. People want successful people because they want to benefit from it, right? If you make a lot of money, some of that's going to overflow into my life. If you have a lot of good connections, I will benefit from that. People want to benefit from the success of a partner, but then they don't want to deal with having that partner actually stand in the confidence that comes with that success. So there's a conundrum there, right? It's not something that just happens to famous women. You probably know somebody in your life, if God forbid it wasn't you, who somebody got into a relationship with that person and they drained all the life out of them. There's a weird thing where there's a certain type of partner that wants to be, they're attracted to your success, but they also want to smother it. And that's because some people are threatened by successful partners, right? Attracted to them, but still threatened. They also are uncomfortable or threatened by emotionally intelligent people, right? Think about what it means to be emotionally intelligent. Emotional intelligence isn't just woo-woo, I make other people feel good. It's being able to spot patterns, having pattern recognition, pointing out when what someone says is not in alignment with their actions, the integrity of it, right? If you are a person that has been used to being able to do whatever you want, say whatever you want, but then you're attracted to this emotionally intelligent person, and you're actually attracted to that emotional intelligence because you like how it looks out in the world, but then they get into partnership with you and they start exercising that emotional intelligence over you, oh my God. And that happens to people. Folks can be attracted, especially sexually, to a woman or a man that is emotionally intelligent, but then they feel threatened or violated when a person exercises that emotional intelligence with you. When they're emotionally intelligent enough to say, I don't like the way you talk when you're angry, we can't continue this conversation. So then the control mechanisms come in, right? That's one of the psychological motivations for why people will date someone and still try to humble them, all right? But people they, again, even though they're deeply attracted to ambitious partners, that doesn't mean that they aren't threatened by them. People love attractive people, physically attractive people, beautiful people. That doesn't mean that they're threatened by them. People forget that if you are physically attracted to a person, there's a high likelihood that other people out in the world are also attracted to them, right? I was in community with someone who someone was wooing them for years, and they rejected them a few times, and then eventually they caved and started dating them. And as soon as they started dating, that person got them pregnant on purpose. And then they kept getting them pregnant. And when they were pregnant with the third person, they said it out of their mouth. When they were pregnant in the third pregnancy, this woman's fiance looked her in the face and told her, "I'm going to keep getting you pregnant so nobody else wants you." Gorgeous girl, beautiful girl. And this man admitted, he didn't admit it in the beginning because they never do, right? It was when she was pregnant with the third one, he said, "I'm going to keep getting you pregnant because I don't want anybody else to want you." So the same way that people can be attracted to an attractive, beautiful person, that doesn't mean that they aren't threatened by the fact that other people are attracted to them and want them. And you can't control the fact that the rest of the world sees this person as attractive. But what you may be able to control is how your partner that you finagled into that relationship carries their attractive energy. You can breed insecurity in them so that they stop taking their hair, they stop working out, they stop putting on makeup, right? And they dull their beauty. That is a thing that happens. So the short answer to what the psychological motivation is behind why people will get in a partnership with a person and try to humble them is that people often can't handle the thing that they want. And they are often threatened by the thing that they want. And a person who is not aligned, a person who lacks self-awareness, a person who lacks personal accountability, instead of them nurturing the environment to maintain the beauty, the intelligence, the wisdom, the success of the person they get with, they will sabotage it and fuck it up so that no one else is attracted to that success. No one else is attracted to that beauty. Hit those scale emojis if you're picking up what I'm putting down. If you're in alignment, if you're following what I'm putting down, hit the scale emojis. Let me know you're still with me. It's a little quiet in the chat today. Feel free to jump in with conversation. The conversation does help me keep going, okay? So instead of rising to meet this partner, this beautiful, this attractive, this successful, this wise, this charismatic partner that you have, if you are an insecure person yourself and you feel threatened, you will go out of your way to unconsciously or sometimes deliberately lower them, make them smaller, right? And sometimes this is rooted to a fear of abandonment, right? It's rooted in, if I can keep them insecure, they won't leave me. And I think, again, allegedly, Jasmine and Cam Newton may be an example of that. If Cam Newton has said out of his own mouth that women lose value the more children that they have. And they've just had their second baby. So if he believes that enough to get on his podcast and say that, I'm pretty sure that he's told Jasmine at some point, "Where are you going to go? I done gave you 2 babies. I done put 2 babies in you. Who's going to take you after me?" And that is a way of making someone feel insecure so that they won't leave you. Allegedly, I know nothing. I've never met these people. I just be talking, right? But that's the thing that happened. If I make you insecure, you won't leave me. You will feel stuck with me. That is part of the point of trying to humble your romantic partner. You are attracted to something you don't think you are capable of rising to the occasion to nurture. And so in order to keep them with you, in order to keep them broken so that they can't leave, you foster an insecurity in them, okay? And that way, there's no competition. Even if somebody does see them, you break the competition, right? A lot. And another thing, some people also don't want an equal partner. Some people don't want an equal partner. They want a person that they can outshine. They want a person that they can flex over. They want an accessory, not an equal. That's another reason why people humble folks in relationships. But it comes back to control. Insecurity is easy to manipulate. And if you're afraid of your partner leaving you, then you will breed insecurity in them and kill their confidence so that they stay around. Sounds like my late husband. I'm grateful that he's no longer your husband. I'm grateful that you have a partner that loves to see you shine, Nicole. Way more people need someone like your partner. Your partner actually puts you on a pedestal. They want you to shine. I think that's so beautiful. It's one of the most beautiful things about the relationship you have. But the final reason why I want to go over as to why people try to humble their partners is projection, right? Sometimes they're battling their own feelings of inadequacy. So if they're battling their own feelings of inadequacy, who the fuck is their partner to think that they're capable, right? If I've been unemployed for 3 years and you just got a promotion at work, why the fuck I want to hear about your promotion, right? So that's why it's important to see where people are on their healing journey before you commit to them. Because if they're not comfortable with where they are in life, they're going to make you feel bad. That is the dangerous thing about telling women to date down economically, right? It's not about the money. It's not about what a person has. It's about, is that person comfortable with the fact that they have less than you? And some of you guys who are watching this, you may have survived being in a relationship with somebody that you out-earned, and they went out of their way to embarrass you and make you feel like shit on a regular basis because they weren't secure with the fact that you made more, right? So those are some of the reasons why people try to humble their partners. Cam is a cockroach just laying eggs thinking he's the It's disgusting. It's disgusting and it's embarrassing. I don't think there's anything cute about the Cam Newtons and the Nick Cannons of the world. And I don't want to hear that it's different when a rich nigga put that pressure on you. Is he really rich when he has 18,000 children? I don't care how many millions he has. If he has to split it between 7,500 people, that ain't no money. We even got to start thinking about what it means to be wealthy differently. Because telling yourself that you can have as many kids as you want because you got a couple of millions, okay, well, once you start splitting the millions between 18,000 people, I done gave him more and more children every time I said something. But once you split the millions between 18,000 people, that millions don't mean shit, right? So, yeah. This happened more times than I could count. Now I'm hypervigilant and too hard on them, but maybe that's why I've been single for so long. Need a balance. Balance is important, right? And here's the thing. Hard on the issues, not hard on people. Hard on the patterns, not hardening ourselves, right? You want to have wisdom, but you also want to move in a way where you're still vulnerable and have your heart open, because there are people out here that don't behave this way. And if we let the fuck boys and the insecure people break our spirit, we won't find the partners that are capable of holding space for us. And that's what we need to be focused on, right? Thank you. Don't be though God removed and blessed me with him. Absolutely. Absolutely. You and your partner are definitely a really beautiful balance to witness. But let's talk a little bit more, okay? So again, I'm sharing these examples of Rihanna and Jasmine publicly, and I'm talking about them because we don't know their personal business, right? We just know what's being shown to us and how it's being filtered in a particular way. I'm sharing these examples not to judge these women as individuals, but to highlight it because low-key, we all know women who do this. We've all seen this, right? We may not know billionaires, but we all know a Rihanna-like woman who we look up one day and we like, that was an interesting choice. And then all we can do is pray for them and wait for the other shoe to drop, right? We all know a woman like Jasmine who live their lives one way under one politic, and then the next thing you know, it takes one relationship And all of that is out the window. I'm so insecure about the fact that I don't have my nails done. I'm sorry. My nails, for those of you who get gel or acrylic, you know what I'm about to explain. But a couple weeks ago, my nails split. And so I'm waiting for it to heal, my nail bed to heal completely before I can get them done again. But I'm so insecure about not having my nails done. That's why I talk with my hands a lot, but then when I notice that they're in the camera, I keep hiding them. So don't mind me. But yeah, it's really important to be able to understand these things. So yeah, watching what Jasmine Brown goes through is nightmare fuel. That is nightmare fuel. I could not imagine having children with a man who gets on a public platform on a damn near weekly basis and talks about how he don't want to marry me, how he ain't gonna marry me, and how women who have children have lost their value. And then I gotta cook for him and bust it open for him when he get home after he said these things about me on a weekly basis. My heart goes out to her, but at the same time, you can't want more for people than what they want for themselves, right? It is a very unequal emotional load in that relationship. And I agree with you, Nicole. He has less value. He's not making the millions anymore that he was making in the NFL. He got 18,000 children, 20,000 baby mamas. Like that's the low value to me. But again, there's something in his mind. And I've seen this with a lot of athletes, I think, especially football players. They've been told that they were the prize since they were 13 years old. So unless, again, because they have this talent and, coaches and fans and people have been gassing them up since they were literal children. So unless they have families that are invested in teaching them about the value of partnership, they just see women as a resource they can run through. Also think there's some CTE shit going on with Cam Newton, allegedly. That's why he can make up words like "inclecta" and think that makes sense. But yeah, that is nightmare fuel, watching him talk about her and treat her that way publicly on a regular basis. So have you ever been the person that has shown up smaller and smaller in relationships? Or do you know somebody in your life that you love that you have to watch them shrivel? Because that's low-key what we see with Jasmine. I don't even think she does comedy anymore. And she had a thriving career as a stand-up. I've literally aside from when she was pregnant with the first child and she was wearing his jersey and did that stand-up show, I don't think she's even practicing her career anymore. That is, again, nightmare fuel, to be that successful in your field and to allow a relationship to break you down to the point where you don't even share your gift with the world anymore. Insane work. But if we've been that person or if we've seen people in that situation, it is deeply important that we learn from it so we don't end up there again, right? Because here's the thing. People don't recognize it as it's happening. And so that's why it's important to teach yourself about the signs so that you see them, right? You don't just wake up one day and the next thing you know, you are 2 children in deep with a man who is publicly proclaiming that he'll never marry you, right? Similar to Rihanna. And here's the thing. I think we as a culture have gotten so capitalistic and money obsessed that anytime we talk about character and anytime we talk about the choices that people make, we automatically want to go to, well, they got money. Well, they got money. Well, they got money. Okay, yeah, they got money, but what are those children witnessing? What is the generational curse that Rihanna may not be breaking by allowing this to happen because she's a fucking bird, a billionaire bird, allegedly. And again, I'm saying this to somebody who's in the Navy. I'm a huge Rihanna fan, but I'm a fan of her knowing that she's a bird, allegedly, right? Beautiful bird, but still a bird, right? So whether we're talking about celebrities or ordinary people, we got to think about these underlying questions. Again, they never come out the gate humiliating you and humbling you, right? So who do you get to be? How do you boundary set? If you feel the relationship is worth working on and fighting for, how do you boundary set? Because I'm of the opinion that I don't even think Rocky knows. I think Cam knows he's humiliating Jasmine. I don't think Rocky is fully aware. I think a lot of the support he gave her in the beginning was genuine. But again, like I mentioned in the beginning, that experience of having an album flop, when you know that your girl can cough the ABCs and go platinum, has to be frustrating. So I think there's some conscious acting out that Rocky is doing right now, right? So if you find yourself, because we're all human, right? Especially if you are blessed to be with somebody that you're going to be with or married to for decades at a time, you may find yourself being a jealous partner, or they may have a moment of being jealous of you. So really thinking about, okay, think about that for better or for worse. Okay, things are worse now. How do I boundary set and course correct? Those are important things to consider, right? Let's talk a little bit about what this means from a spiritual perspective, because it does spiritually tear you down to be in a relationship with somebody who's always trying to shrink you, okay? Here's the thing. I say this all the time. People are in your life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime, right? Another way to think about that is there are people in your life who are meant to activate you. There are people in your life who are meant to protect you. And then there are people in your life that are meant to heal you, right? And here's the thing. If you are really in your spiritual journey, like for real, not just on some Instagram shit where you want to buy oils and post pretty pictures of yourself, right? Or some TikTok shit, right? If you're really in your spiritual journey, you know sometimes the healing is painful. Some of the most effective spiritual remedies are nasty and bitter as fuck, okay? So the healing you may be supposed to get from a partner may not always feel good, right? I don't know Rihanna. Everything I say is alleged. But what if there exists a world in which, even though Rihanna is really amazing at holding boundaries and keeping limits professionally, she sucks at it romantically. And that is a spiritual lesson she needs to learn. I've had clients like that, right? Amazing, super successful, six-figure salaries. I'm making $150,000, $200,000 a year. But I don't know how to tell my partner, my boyfriend, my husband, my lover, that I don't feel like picking up his drawers with the shit streaks in them. That happens. People can have really amazing boundaries in all other areas of their life and suck with romance. Okay? So some people are also in your life to test you, right? They function as literal physical tests in your life. So it's really important when you are in a relationship or entering a relationship to ask yourself, does this relationship expand my confidence, right? Or does it shrink my confidence? Is this a relationship that's helping me deepen my intuition and trust myself? Do I get to be fully and deeply connected to Ori in this relationship? Or is this a relationship that's causing constant confusion, that is fucking up my ability to regulate my emotions? I have little clarity. I'm moving with constant desperation in this relationship, right? And if you want to make it even more simple than that, do I have peace in this relationship, or do I constantly feel anxious? Is this relationship feeding my peace, or is it feeding my anxiety? Do I constantly feel uncertain? Do I feel like if I move a certain way, laugh too hard, smile too big, that's going to turn into a fight or a conversation or several days of underhanded insults, right? Those are all things that are important. We need to consider the energy of how a person makes us feel. You cannot be so desperate to be in a relationship with somebody that you neglect and disregard how they make you feel, right? Someone who is constantly trying to make you humble is somebody that is uncomfortable in your light. There is no two ways around it, right? Your confidence exposes a wound within them. And so they have to make the choice. It's not about you at that point. They have to make a choice. Do I want to heal this wound, or am I going to constantly beat up on the person that is exposing that the wound is there, right? So I want to wrap up with talking about a few red flags, and then I'll take questions from the audience, okay? These are a few red flags. If you are in partnership or dating somebody who celebrates strangers more than they are willing to celebrate you, that is something to pay attention to, okay? When I first decided to quit working in corporate America and go into business full time for myself, I was dating somebody at the time, and I actually gave this motherfucker a second chance. I shouldn't have done it. I was dating somebody at the time that told me that I was going to fail and I was making a poor decision, while constantly bragging on all the women he knew in his life that used the instability of COVID to start their own business. I was doing the same thing. So why is it great that they're doing it, but somehow I'm going to fail? Really? You're telling me I'm going to fail? Okay. That was somebody who was trying to humble me. He was celebrating strangers for doing damn near the same thing that I was doing, but trying to breed insecurity in me around it, okay? Another red flag: the more successful you get, the more distant they become. I experienced this in a friendship, and you guys have heard me talk about this before, the friendship of 19 years, where she was very comfortable with me being in this particular kind of stagnation. But once I got confident and once I started building my business, it made her insecure because she had this fake party planning business that she had been running for 10 years and never made any money from, right? People who distance themselves from you once your success pick up, they want to humble you. They are people who are threatened by you. They do not, I'm not going to go as far as to say that they don't love you, but they definitely don't want the best for you. Okay? If you are with someone where every compliment comes with a criticism or a put down, that's a person that's trying to humble you. That's a red flag. I had a mentor that was that way. I was never able to have just done something that was good. It was, and I had to leave that mentor in order to understand after, oh, they saw me as a threat, because they would always say, your such and such is almost as good as mine. Your X, Y, and Z is almost as good as mine. I found out in hindsight that they were taking credit for a lot of my work. They would tell people, oh, I taught this person everything they know. They only know how to do this well because I taught it to them. But they can't do those things themselves, so that doesn't even make any sense, right? But if somebody is always giving you a compliment that comes with a criticism, I remember I used to do pop-up kitchens when I lived back home. And the first one, I collaborated with somebody, and they left me high and dry in that collaboration. They actually didn't help me do shit. They didn't help me cook nothing. They showed up late to the first pop-up. And after it was over, everybody else, oh my God, the food was amazing. This was an amazing time. I can't wait for you to do the next one. I wasn't even able to unpack the materials or finish packing up the materials from the pop-up. And she was in my face, well, I got some feedback. I got some things that I know you could do better. Yo, let me celebrate, right? But if people only compliment, if one compliment comes with 5 criticisms, that person doesn't want to see you win. That's somebody that's just invested in humbling you. They want to feed an insecurity into you so that you don't keep going, you don't keep thriving, you don't keep showing up in your success, right? Another red flag: constantly making jokes at your expense and acting like you're sensitive when you are offended by the jokes, right? This is another one. When you are having a moment where you're very proud of something you've done and a person throws a mistake from your past, right? Ain't got shit to do with the moment you're celebrating, but they're going to bring up a mistake when you're trying to be in the present moment with your successes. That's a red flag. People who try to compete with you instead of collaborate with you. People who try to compete with you instead of collaborate with you. I remember being a part of an organization. Um, and it was funny because for a while I was the only life coach in that environment. And I was told that I shouldn't be doing life coaching, that someone was going to sue me, which makes sense. There are so many life coaches, no one gets sued. What are you talking about? But they kept trying to feed and breed a suspicion around my own training in me. And then as soon as it became clear that I was leaving that organization, a couple of the people that were around started saying, well, I'm gonna offer coaching services. I'm gonna give coaching sessions. And then when I would bring up, okay, well, maybe you want to get some training, maybe you want to get some certification. No, because I'm going to do it different than you. I'm going to do it different than you. Of course you are, because we're different people. That's not the point. Calling yourself a coach when you have no coaching training is very negligent. But also, you never wanted to collaborate with me. You never wanted to take training from me. You never wanted to take advice from me. And now suddenly you want to compete in something that you know I do that you have no training in. Those are people who want to humble you. They don't want to collaborate because collaboration means that you will have to share the blessings and the praise. But they do want to compete with you. And they do want to take credit for the knowledge that you have. Pay attention to things like that. You're not imagining it. If it doesn't make sense, it doesn't make sense. If it quacks, it's a duck. Okay? And then the final one, and I feel like this happens way too often and we ignore it. They only compliment you after you've doubted yourself. Right? So after they put the suspicion in you and after they've criticized you immensely and after they've drained your confidence, if you start to internalize that and it comes out of you verbally, then they compliment you. And you know why they do that? Because then they get to take ownership of your confidence. They get to be the person that built you back up just a teensy tiny bit after they've broken you down. Right? Pay attention to those red flags. Pay attention. Once you see that person starts to do those things, you have some big decisions to make. Is this a person you are safe enough to share your wins with? Probably not. Start thinking about what you need to do to keep yourself safe, okay? Healthy love is not going to require you to become less. It's not going to require you to shrink, right? It's not. It's really not. It's going to ask both people to grow simultaneously. And if you are with a partner that is not capable of growing alongside of you, if they are deeply convinced that the only way that they can grow is by ripping your roots out, then you don't need to be with that person, okay? A partner that truly loves you is not going to spend their energy trying to break you down. They want to help you stay grounded while encouraging you to shine and to grow more. The goal is not to dim your light, okay? The goal should always be to help you shine brighter. And if they're not capable of that, they're not your person. All right? Bertal, you should be a therapist. Bertal, that's the goal. That's the goal. The goal is to go back to school for psychology. I want to thank you for saying that because that's an affirmation. I'm going to take that as a message from Spirit that what I'm attempting to do is the right thing. Love you down. I want to say, first of all, thank you. Because you didn't know that. And so I want to say thank you. But that is something that I want to do. Oddly enough, the Cheyenne Bryan shit has put a battery in my back. I love being a life coach, but there are too many people who have a predatory nature in the coaching community right now. And so me going back to school and becoming certified is something that I really, really care about. No, Tashana. No, I have my master's in sociology. I was attempting a PhD in sociology for a long time. I'm a certified life coach. I am not a therapist. I'm not a therapist. I'm not. I'm a certified life coach. but I'm not a therapist. I read a lot about psychology, but I'm not a psychiatrist. I'm not a therapist. I'm neither of those. I'm a life coach. I'm a life coach and a priestess. Um, Thank you for that, but I'm gonna get the degree to match it. I'm determined to get the degree to match it. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Thank you both. But we're at the end of the conversation now, and I'm willing to take readings from the audience if anybody wants a reading. I do have a reading for this topic, and I call it the false humility reading. It's specifically a reading that is designed to help you understand where are you allowing yourself to be shrunken in your life, why you're allowing it, and what you need to do to pivot away from those behaviors. So if you would like the false humility reading, let me know. I'm happy to give that to you. If you just want a general reading because you have a general question, I'm happy to take those as well. Suggested love offering is 1111, but nobody is going to be turned away for having a little less. If you are feeling generous and you want to give a little more, thank you for that as well. But if anybody would like for me to answer a question for them, go ahead and put that in the comments and I'll get to you, okay? As you're deciding on whether or not you want a question, I'm going to bring you guys the current updates, all right? 4th of July is a couple of days away. I am doing my annual July 4th Independence Day sale. This is one of my bigger sales. I typically rarely go over 20% in terms of a discount. Before 4th of July, I am doing 25%. So any order over $75 placed on my website, if you use the code FIREWORK at checkout, you can get you can get 25% off. So this is a great time to purchase readings. I just uploaded and added a bunch of new classes to my website. So the classes from the Shadow Work, Tarot and Shadow Work series are up. My class on uncrossing work and laundry rinses is up. What else? Jupiter and Leo's not up because I haven't even taught that yet. But basically everything that I've taught in the last couple of months is now on the website. So if you've been wanting new classes from me, but you're not in my mentorships or on my Patreon, they are available on the website. Now, here's the thing. Definitely support the website for, or support the sale for classes. But if you join my Patreon, you can also get classes, right? So just consider it. But in terms of the sale, any order over $75. So if you've been wanting to book a reading, because it's been a while since we've caught up, if you wanted to purchase old classes from old versions of the mentorship, if you want to buy Rich Spirit Body Wash, use the code to get a discount. Speaking of the Rich Spirit Body Wash, you guys know that I do a reading, not a reading, I do give a discounted offer every month, right? And so 2 discounted offers for the month of July. First is the Golden Shadows reading, which is my financial health and wellness reading, right? So it gives you wisdom around what will bring you wealth and the blockages you have so that you can remove them. That is going to be the discounted reading for the month of July. So that's on sale for $85, originally $125. And Rich Spirit Body Wash is at its lowest price for the month of July. It is $33.33. So if you've been interested in Rich Spirit Body Wash, but you haven't been certain, now's a good time to get it, especially if you pair it with the Firework deal to get an additional 20% off of an order over $75. Okay? What else? What else is going on? Rich Spirit, the next round of Rich Spirit will be taking place the second week of August. I don't remember the exact dates, but if you're interested in getting or being in the Rich Spirit Prosperity Ritual, click the link below so that way you can join us, okay? What else? As always, taking people for my mentorships. The next cohort of Charm School is going to start in August. Study Hall, which is the self-paced mentorship program, is still going. If you're interested in either, join the link to Charm School to learn more about it, okay? Nicole, did you have a question, Nicole? Hold on a second. Trying to see who all sent love offerings. Bertal, I'm going to start with you, and then I'll follow up with Adelaida. Okay? And then, who else? So I have two, I have two, what are these things? Cash apps. That's what it's called. So I have to switch back and forth to see who sent. So I apologize for that if it's taking me a second. But we'll start with Bertal, and then we'll do Adelaida. And if there's anyone else that has questions, let me know. Will my new EDI position open doors for opportunity and more money? I feel like I already know the answer to that, but I don't want to do millennial. They don't want me to use millennial. I'm going to use divine. Tarot the divine. Ancestors, angels, ascended masters, spirits that walk with me, and elevated ancestors. What wisdom does Bertal need about the EDI position? Will this open up the space for new opportunities as well as an increase in income for her? Any wisdom shared is deeply appreciated. All right, Adelaida, you said you want both. So Adelaida, when I'm done with Bertal, I will start with the false humility reading for you, and then put your question that you want me to answer down so that I can get to that after I'm done with the false humility reading, okay? If there's anyone else who would like the false humility reading or a general reading, go ahead and send your love offering and put a comment in the comments section so that I can get to you, okay? Yes, it is. It is. You have a lot of uncertainty about the position, but you need to go after it anyway. It is going to be much better than what you are leaving behind. So this is about you trusting this opportunity, trusting that the spirits would not have bought the opportunity to you if it wasn't meant to take you into something that is better than what you're leaving behind. Your current position has stressed you the fuck out and worn you thin. And are you going to have to learn a lot in this new position in order to take it on? Absolutely. But it allows you to close this chapter of being stretched thin and worn thin in your current position. So this is going to bring relief because you're going to be leaving that old position behind. And absolutely, hell yeah. 3 of Wands is a card of upward mobility. So this is absolutely going to open doors for you. Absolutely. So go ahead. If you haven't said yes to it already, go ahead and say yes now and take it, okay? All right, Bertal, let me know if that was helpful for you. Adelaida would like both. Adelaida, go ahead and put in your general question while I do the false humility spread for you. And maybe if people hear the false humility reading, it'll make sense for them. And that way, if anyone else is interested in it, they can go ahead and send in their offering. But the 3 cards are looking at what part of yourself shrinks in relationships, what dynamic has been feeding that need to shrink, and what is the energy that's going to help you reclaim your power, okay? Ancestors, angels, ascended master spirits, walk with me and give us insight into the ways of which Adelaida may shrink in her intimate relationships. Give her insight into why it happens and give her the wisdom she needs to release the habit and reclaim herself. Any wisdom shared? Any wisdom shared is deeply appreciated. Nope to what, Nicole? I don't understand. What are you saying nope to? Let me know what you're saying nope to. You shrink yourself when it comes to your intuition. You shrink yourself when it comes to your spiritual gifts. A lot of times the first insight that you have is the correct insight. But because there's uncertainty in the insight, you tell yourself you need more information. You need more perspective. you need more time, insert excuse here, right? Even though you really don't need those things, you actually see much more clearly than you give yourself credit for. So the area of life that you tend to shrink yourself in, Adelaida, is your intuition, your spiritual discernment. You shrink it. It's like you have the discernment, but you will often go against it out of a fear of guilt, right? What dynamic has been feeding that shrinking? We have the Seven of Cups. I think you have a lot going on with you. There's like almost an energy of emotional or spiritual overstimulation. And because that energy is around you, it causes you to submit to confusion a lot. So you will commit to things that you intuitively know are not the best for you. And then it's not until it bites you in the butt later that you're like, oh, damn, I should have listened to that first thought, right? But yeah, a lot of what is feeding that tendency to shrink is that there's a lot of energetic noise around you, if that makes sense. What energy helps you reclaim your full self? I'll do the general reading for you, Adelaida. What will help you reclaim your full self is Page of Swords energy, right? Being comfortable enough and low-key brave enough to not only say the first thought, but to trust it, right? Page of Swords is the honor student. So even though they are still learning, a lot of times they get the answer right on the first time, right? I think there's a part of you, and also this goes back to that hangman. Part of the reason why you may deny your intuition is that you don't want to come off, and this is why it's false humility. You don't want to come off as an arrogant person, right? What you need to lean into is the vulnerability of being someone who's constantly learning. And that doesn't mean that you deny what you know. It just means that you keep a spirit that's open to new information, right? So that is how you have been called to shrink in certain relationships, as well as how you reclaim your personal power. All right. Ancestors, angels, ascended master spirits who walk with me, my elevated ancestors. What wisdom does Adelaida need at this time? What wisdom do her ancestors want to pour into her? Is there anything that they want to warn her about or prepare her for in this moment? Any wisdom shared is deeply appreciated. If you have been losing faith in your romantic life, don't. Summer is about to be really busy for you romantically. Even though it's going to be busy for you, and when I say busy, I mean you're going to have a lot of people who are attracted to you. There is at least one person who is stepping forward as a very reciprocal and equal partner. They're going to be somebody that really pours into you in a way that not only you need, but the way that you pour into them, they need as well, right? And this is also a partner that is generous. They may not be the richest person in the world, but they are very generous with their resources, with their time. How they show love is through acts of service, right? So Star card, renewed hope and faith. Star card typically comes up when we need to continue to have faith because the tide is about to change, right? So the tide is about to change for you, particularly in your romantic life. Somebody is about to show up who is really serious about you, who don't play about you, who really wants romance from you, right? And this lover is also very, very generous. They're very giving. It's through, like, they're proud of their ability to nurture and pour into a partner. So just make sure that if you have been feeling like, I don't know if should continue dating right now, or I'm frustrated because I'm getting a lot of the same, try to have faith beyond those feelings, because things are about to pick up for you romantically, okay? I hope that this was helpful. I hope that you got what you needed from the reading, Adelaida. I'll be back on Sunday, as always, 7:30 p.m. EST for the weekly wisdom, the weekly energy reading. I hope that you guys enjoyed this conversation. Love, please, Mambo. I don't know. I did. Oh, you wanted a general love reading. Okay, so that let me redo your reading then, because that makes sense that Spirit was saying, romance is coming to you. Let me ask specifically about your love life. Ancestors, angels, ascended masters, spirits to walk with me. What does Adelaida need to know specifically about love and romance? Give her the insight and the wisdom she needs from her spirits when it comes to love, partnership, romance, and matters of the heart. Any wisdom shared is deeply appreciated. Thank you for correcting me. But you know what's interesting though, Adelaide? It's like Spirit corrected me even though I didn't know that I was getting it wrong. Because your reading ended up being about love anyway. But let's see what new wisdom they have to give in this second pull. You know what? I'm not going to pull a clarifier because I don't need it. Part of why you may be feeling disconnected in terms of romance is because you're walking on a tightrope energy, right? Anytime the twos come up, they represent duality, but they also represent conflict in terms of our feelings, right? So it's like you are on this tightrope. You have one moment where you're really excited about love, and then the next moment you fear losing your independence, or you feel like it's not working, right? Two of Pentacles can also represent the energy of feeling stretched thin. So that's something that's coming up, right? A part of the reason why you may be having this experience of love is because of the Page of Pentacles, right? Page of Pentacles is a positive card, not in love. What do I mean by that? Page of Pentacles is somebody who's learning as they go, right? It's the card of apprenticeship. It can also represent a easygoing, go with the flow kind of energy. That sounds dope, but every single one of us who is watching this either live or in the replays, not just you, Adelaida, we are all grown titty women. We are too old to be playing I'm just going to be chill and let the universe bring me what it. No. This is not helping you, right? That's why we end with the Devil card. You have to get on your business. You have to be serious like a Capricorn about your romantic journey, right? So if you've been feeling like exhausted and like you're not getting the results you want from love and romance, it's because you got to tighten up a little bit. You got to be ruthless like a Capricorn. You got to look at this like a business, right? And I think this is helpful for you to hear in tandem with the last spread that I did by accident, because it seems like Spirit is going to bring you somebody soon. So tighten up before they get here. Have the boundaries in place before they get here, right? So that way you don't waste a whole lot of time. But what I am seeing is that you may not be having the most aligned experiences of love because you're a little too easygoing right now. And we're at the age where we got to be serious. We got to be serious about what we want to deal with, what we don't want to deal with. And it's okay for you to be that way. I was hoping that low key. Okay, good. I'm glad you got the message that you needed. They showed up. Absolutely. All right, everybody. Well, I want you all to have an amazing night. Have a blessed evening and an amazing weekend. I will be back here Sunday night, as always, 7:30 p.m. EST, so that we can do the weekly wisdom reading and figure out what the week has in store for us before House of Dragon comes on. I love you all. Take care, and I'll see you in a couple days. Bye.